And welcome back to the Soar Hire podcast, a show for leaders by leaders. It's focused on providing business and career advice, tools, and resources to help people achieve higher levels of success in their lives. Great to be back with you. This is your host, Coach Jason Ballard, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. It's our first podcast in 2023. So we had a great year last year. Thank you for all of your support, all of the love and the reach outs of 2022. It was our inaugural year, and we're super excited about 2023 and what we've got lined up. We've got a whole host of experts and professionals coming on the show that's going to be on there to help you learn, grow, have access to tools and resources to help you navigate your career, your life, and wherever it is you're trying to achieve in it. Now, today, we have a very special guest. This is somebody I've known for many years. I consider him a friend and certainly an entrepreneurial colleague. Please welcome Jonathan Klunk to the show today. Jonathan, great to have you on the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me. 2022 was also the inaugural year for our podcast, Selling Derby City. So celebrating our anniversaries at the same time.
That's awesome. Well, I couldn't think of a better person to kick off 2023 with than the great Jonathan Klunk. Jonathan, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do?
Absolutely. So born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, where I sit today. I am currently in real estate, and believe it or not, where I am today has really been a culmination of majority of my side hustles. I've had side hustles since I was 16. I like to joke that I've filed a Schedule C on my tax return also since I was 16. So tax strategy is something that was ingrained in me at a very early age. I was lucky to be the child of very hardworking entrepreneurs as well. They both had day jobs. They worked their side hustles and multi-level marketing starting over 20 years ago, getting all the way up to the top of the business that really focused on personal growth, self-development, and, introduction to that at such an early age was critical, both having that inspiration in front of me, having all of that self-help around me. It's really helped me become the person that I am today. So because I'm in real estate, I'm in sales, and that's what I do. I am a salesman.
Well, I tell you, Jonathan's a special person. I met Jonathan back, I believe, around 2014. Jonathan, before he became a real estate mogul, was in sales and in technology sales. He worked for a couple different companies at the time, and I was in a different life in the tech business as a leader, and I met Jonathan through that, and him and his company, helped us in many ways in that organization that I was a part of, and was phenomenal. But Jonathan just stood out to me. You just stood out. You were different than all the 4 million other salespeople trying to sell me stuff and make a buck off of me. You were different. You connected, and you wanted to connect it in different ways, and you were very smooth about it, very non-salesy, non-pushy. And it just you just stood out, and it just made a difference, and you really helped me. I mean, we had some really tough challenges in this particular organization. I took over a struggling organization at that time, and Jonathan and his team were able to come in and really help us, take things to the next level. He was certainly a key person, but as we go forward, Jonathan, you left corporate America doing very well for yourself in technology sales to go out on your own. And today we're talking about entrepreneurism. We're going to learn a little bit about Jonathan's journey and how he became, he was always an entrepreneur, but how he actually really took that and ran with it and created many, many businesses, successful businesses as a result. That has just taken him and his life to a whole nother level. It's a very amazing success story. But why are we doing this? I'll tell you why. because we're in a different world today. 2023 is going to be the year of opportunity for us to really push the accelerator forward as a nation, as an economy, as a group of people that want to move forward. I think people are, certainly tired of COVID. They're tired of the stock market being down. They're tired of politics. People are ready to move forward. They're motivated. They're excited, and they're looking for new ways to win. And a
Mhm.
lot of people, more than any other time in recent history, Jonathan, people are looking to freelance. They're looking to own their own business, whether it's a franchise or something they bootstrap and do themselves. People are realizing, things in themselves that they want to do. They want to follow those passions. They want balance in life. And so we want to provide people like a real true boots on the ground perspective of what it's like to own a business in the day in the life of Jonathan. And hopefully you can learn from that. And as you make decisions going forward as an audience member, for what may be right for you, you can maybe apply these lessons learned and these things that can help you navigate that a lot easier than, people like Jonathan and I that have gone before you. So that's what we're about today. It's about entrepreneurism and helping you figure out what the right path may be for you in that space. So Jonathan, tell us a bit about your story. Why did you become a business owner? How did you get into it? What enticed you to do that? Give us the backstory.
I tell you, it's always been something that's been inside of me. From as early as I can remember, I was always looking for something to design, to build. I used to sit down at night and write sample menus for a restaurant that I wanted to open. I literally used to draw the floor plan of the restaurant. Like, here's where the stove is going to be in the kitchen. Here, how the tables are going to be arranged. I had everything picked out. I mean, I would go so far as to figure out what little vases and lights are going to be on the tables. And that's the level of detail that I go to. And it's 50% this entrepreneurship business owner and 50% creativity. And for me, my creativity has always driven what it is that I wanted to do or what I was going to do. So I really owe it to the creative side. Once you have that bite, that desire to create something, to be your own boss, then really it's putting together your business plan and then putting the pedal to the metal. Because we all have a very finite period of time here on this earth. We all have goals that we want to achieve. So you have to know those goals and you have to work every day towards them. Most of my adult life, I've been an employee, as I mentioned earlier, with a side hustle. Only for about the last 6 years, and I'm 38 now, I'll be 39 this year. Only for the last 6 years have I actually been my own boss. And in the beginning, it wasn't easy. I took a big pay cut to become my boss. They call those the golden handcuffs. And that's the hardest part of leaving something like corporate America to go out on your own, is having the gumption to do that and not being afraid to just jump off a cliff.
Yeah, I think that holds a lot of people back. They have ideas. They have ways of doing things better. They see what's going on in the world and they're like, wow, that was a crappy experience. I know I could do that better. And they hold back because of those unknowns. Those unknowns cause fears and prevent them from actually kind of taking that leap of faith and getting out there and doing it, because they get in their own head like, wow, what if the economy tanks, and what if this doesn't work? And that self-doubt kicks in. And I think there's a lot of more entrepreneurs out there than we realize. They're just a little scared to step out there. So Jonathan, what made you decide to step out there? What did anything happen? Was it just like one day you woke up and you're like, you know what, screw the world, I'm just gonna, be in real estate tomorrow?
I think that there always has to be a catalyst. Nobody wakes up working at a job that they love and everything's going well and they just decide to upend that. There has to be a catalyst. So for us, we were managing Airbnb properties. We had two of our own, We were very vocal about our success, and many people reached out to us wanting consultation once they realized how complicated it was to manage a short-term rental property versus, a long-term rental. They asked if we could manage it. And this was long before the infrastructure existed in the short term rental business. So they didn't have the technology that they have today to automate a lot of your business. They didn't have half the platforms. I mean, it was Airbnb and VRBO, that was it. And so we were managing about 15 properties, my husband and we both had jobs, and it was becoming just annoying enough to where maybe it was interrupting business at work. Maybe we questioned whether or not we could take a vacation or go out of town because of the needs of this fledgling business. And it's also a business of scale. You really can't make a great living or grow it into anything unless you're scaling it. And to scale
Hmm.
it, we had to focus exclusively on that and nothing else. So the time came when our business, our side hustle, grew to a point where it required full time management. And just so happens that was at the same time where the company that I was working for had been acquired. And a lot of the niceties that I realized when I signed on there were starting to go away because the
Hmm.
now new parent company was starting to take over, have more control. And you were noticing that difference. It was stopped becoming this large local company and was becoming more of the corporate America that I had left to join this organization. So that helped make my decision easy. But that was the only easy decision, was the timing.
Yeah. It is interesting in your journey in life, and I think everybody has a story and they have a journey and a path, right? That things happen in a certain way where they're like signs. It's like, you're bumping against the guardrails going down the road, and it's just signs that it's time for you to turn the next page. A new chapter for your life is around the corner. Things happen at work, and then what was good is no longer good. Things change. Things happen in your personal life or whatever. Things happen around you, and they just start kind of moving you and kind of just churning feelings and thoughts inside of your heart and soul, that starts kind of moving you and kind of leading you in certain ways. Um, so Jonathan, this sounds like you started this as like a side hustle, something you were interested in Airbnb kind of rental, short term rentals. You and Justin just had some kind of an interest in that. You kind of got involved in that on a small scale. Then this thing started taking off and eating your lunch, and then what happened? What was the deciding point? You're like, okay, we're all in, man.
Quitting my job, that was definitely it. And, it was a great business for us. We ran it for a long time. And then another opportunity presented itself. And it actually, for us, came in the form of the pandemic. The pandemic was really hard for a lot of businesses. It was hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Some people are still trying to recover from that. But we were growing a business that was growing so quickly that was, almost unmanageable at some points. It made me question my ability to be a CEO, to run an organization. It certainly helped me realize that I probably have no business training people, guiding people. I can build something, but I'm kind of better on my own or with key people around me that can take what I have to offer and disseminate that throughout the business. But no, I mean, we grew like wildfire. I have a great marketing skill, PR, ability to attract news, publicity. So we were the face of Airbnb for Louisville, Kentucky. Anytime the news wanted to do a story, they would reach out to us. Local newspapers were covering us, a lot of national newspapers as well. And that also helped to take us into our next side hustle. So, back to what you were saying about how, the guardrails, how you can just kind of be bumping along through there until the time is right. One important thing to remember is that opportunities present themselves. They not all the time. You're going to have a very finite number of opportunities in your lifetime that will present themselves. You have to be equipped to take action, to grab the bull by the horns, to see that opportunity and to capitalize on it.
Yep.
And they're going to come in different packages every single time. But if you say no too many times, you might not have any yeses, like ever. So don't be
Yeah.
afraid to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of times people miss those things. They're so focused in doing the day-to-day stuff. They get busy, they get overwhelmed. Things start kind of taking off on them, and they don't see the opportunities that the good Lord's putting in front of them to take advantage of a need. There's people in need out there all the time, and one thing that really stands out to me with you, Jonathan, is you are opportunistic. You have a certain vision about yourself that not many people have. And that vision isn't just, oh, I dream of rainbows and unicorns one day. No, I mean, when I say vision in the context of you and how you are, your ability to kind of think strategically and connect these broader dots of what's going on in the world around you and how they connect and where you can be your best. Another thing that comes out in you is your passion, man. You have a passion and a drive and a determination around real estate and things that surround real estate that allows that strategic vision, allows that strategic kind of ultimate connector of connector kind of people that you are to wrap around that and deliver that in ways nobody's delivering it. Jonathan's a pretty humble guy. What you don't know yet, and you're about to know, is that Jonathan is Louisville's top realtor.
At least my Instagram handle says so.
Well, Jonathan, how many years have you been in the real estate business total now?
I actually got my real estate license in 2019. And then the pandemic hit in 2020, and we know what happened to real estate at that time. And, that's kind of what I mean, that opportunities only present themselves so often. And there are some people where it just seems like they keep coming and coming and coming. It's like they have no short of opportunities. They just reach out and they grab it. And it's because you position yourself for that. Had I not gotten my real estate license in 2019, not knowing that the pandemic was coming in 2020, we would have been out of business. I mean, I remember March 15th when the airlines were grounded, all the travel ceased. We refunded over $2 million in future guest reservations. I
Oh
saw
my
it just
gosh.
leave the bank account, leave. There's nothing that I could do. Airbnb and VRBO were just giving people their money back, no questions asked. Obviously, that needed to happen.
Mm.
But if we didn't have another side hustle at that time, we would have been twiddling our thumbs. I'm sure I would have found something else, but I don't know what that would be. And so not only did we really jump into the real estate game and get started, with flying colors, not looking back whatsoever, but also that's when I was invited to join the partnership at my brokerage, 6 Degrees Real Estate here in Louisville. And being an entrepreneur, I never say no to an opportunity. I had no idea what I was getting into, but somebody said, "Hey, would you like to be one of the founding partners?" And I said, I would be stupid to say no. So yes, we'll figure out the rest later.
Well, I think that's a good example, Jonathan, of how the world works, where you open one door and take a little bit of a risk and trust your instincts and your gut feelings and your passions and follow what makes you happy, what you're really the best at, like you have, that door opens up to other 3, 4, 5 other doors down the road that opens up to new doors from there. And that's a trend I see with you and many entrepreneurs is those doors, just open one door. Don't worry about the what ifs and what's going to happen in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. Just open a
Mhm.
door and walk through it and see what happens.
Yeah, my 5-year goals have changed so many times because I'm always looking into the future and planning for it, but I'm also so flexible and adaptable because you have to be. Whenever you see that opportunity present itself, I make a hard right and go for it. And then I start thinking 5 years out now. What is this going to look like now? So you have to have that long-term vision, but always be prepared to adjust it. Don't get so laser focused on that nothing can come in that competes with that.
Yep. Yeah, because the path may take you a certain direction to a certain point, and yeah, you may have a 5 year vision of where you want to go and what that may look like, but that can be presented to you in a lot of different ways that you may not be thinking about, and you're just not as fully informed on what that could be. And so it's kind of like the old adage, be careful what you pray for. You might actually get it, right? And then what? So I want to go back to another point here, Jonathan. In a
Mhm.
very few in a very few years, 3 to 4 years here, you went from just getting into real estate to being the top realtor in Louisville. And Louisville's, a pretty good sized town. It's this isn't Mayberry. Louisville's, roughly 750 to 800,000 people per our metro service area. Growing, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of movers and shakers. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, there are roughly 5,000 realtors, licensed realtors in this geographical area.
Members of our MLS, yes, does include some kind of non-realtor support individuals, but so I'd say probably maybe 4,000, 4,500. Still a big number.
Very nice. So Jonathan has quickly, risen through the ranks of 5,000 realtors in the area to be one of the top ones. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you recently won an award in 2022. Was it the top people to know in real estate in this Louisville area, right?
Yes, our local business journal, Louisville Business First, named me one of the top 20 people to know in real estate in 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a very impressive honor that very few people ever will even be considered for. Why? Why is this happening? Why, Jonathan? Well, I'll tell you, because it's about his attitude. It's about his personality. Being an entrepreneur is a lot of things, but at the end of the day, especially in the real estate market, from what I can see as I coach people in and out of those markets, it is about you. People buy you. If you're in business, they're buying you. They're not buying your products. Yeah, they may buy your shirt. They may buy your meatloaf if you're in a restaurant. They may buy your house if you're a realtor. But at the end of the day, they're buying you, the brand, the message, the vibe, the energy, right? And I will tell you, I have never met in my 50 years of being on the face of this planet a guy like Jonathan that has his charisma and passion for doing things and doing it differently. And so, what is that? So that led you into 6 degrees, right? Another opportunity. You partner with a group.
Mhm.
Where is that taking you? How's that going?
It's going very well. We have a lot of agents who've joined us. We do both commercial and residential real estate in Kentucky and Indiana. It is it is encouraging to me, and it is also helping me learn new skills. Having to deal and work with agents, helping to train them. It is a lot of our marketing that is attracting them to us, and so helping them to understand how best to present themselves. They
Hmm.
often want to learn by association, by being around. That's a lot of how I've learned things too, is by being that natural learner. You have to have a natural curiosity of how can this be better? How can I do this? How can I elevate myself? And I'm always looking for ways to do that in everything that I do, from everything from the yard signs to flyers to open houses, how I conduct all of this. Like I'm always looking for ways to improve that. And recently I read something that stuck with me. And it says, it is not the best real estate agent at the end of the day who wins. It is the best marketer. And talk about, 3 years in real estate. I do feel like I am a great real estate agent, but I see exactly what they mean from that. Nowhere should I have had the type of success that I have just kind of right out of the gate, except through visibility and marketing and finding that niche and really just digging into it. When you find something that works for you, double down every time.
Man, that is excellent advice, buddy. And if you're out there thinking, business is about competition. At the end of the day, we have to compete. It's a capitalistic economy, at least here in the United States, and you have to be different. And Jonathan entered a market just a few short years ago with 5,000 other people that do what he does, at least on paper. How do you break through that? How do you become noticeable out of all of that stuff, all of the yard signs, all of the TV ads, all of the social media stuff? Everybody's doing stuff, everybody's busy, everybody's moving and shaking. How do you penetrate through all that and stand out? And I think if there's another lesson to be learned here that I'd recommend to folks is what I call the five swings, which I got from John Maxwell, the great leadership author. What are the five things you really, truly are the best at? Right? And if you did nothing all day but those five things, that you would actually be able to move the needle in the biggest, most impactful way. Jonathan is really mastered that concept, and that if you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, can figure that out early and stay disciplined to that and not try to go out there and do everything for everybody in 15 different ways and be the hero. If you can focus on what you genuinely are the best at, you will go farther, faster. And Jonathan's a perfect example of that because he is a marketing genius. Now, I don't know if you've got a lot of doctorate degrees in marketing. I don't know if you've been trained by, the best marketing people in the world. What is your background in marketing, Jonathan?
I can't say that I have a direct marketing background. I think more than anything, it's the creativity that I mentioned early on that I feel drives a lot of this. I take note of things that stand out to me whenever I'm going through social media, when I'm watching TV. What do I want to hear? What is the message that I want to hear? And for me, it really just makes sense. It's vibrant pictures, it's catchy videos, it's offering something. What is the value? What is going to make someone listen to this? It's knowing they have short attention spans and fitting that into a very short window. It's having a powerful and important call to action. Do it now. I would love to help you. It's really just taking everything that you pay attention to when you react to something and then finding a way to incorporate that into your business. And because every single category of business is going to be different. If I wasn't in real estate, I know that I could still do well marketing something else. But today it's real estate.
Yeah. So, Jonathan, you don't have a ton of background in marketing. You're not, necessarily, the marketing idol of the area, right? So if you're out there looking to do things in business, you don't have to know everything about it to be good at it and make it work for you. I think another great example, Jonathan, I think why you're successful is because one of the things you're the best at is that creativity, that drive, that determination, and that vision I talked about earlier, right? You can see the vision of things in your mind and how to lay that out and articulate that in ways that will communicate and hit people in the ways they need to be presented that information. Your videos are funny. They're just bright and vibrant. The way that stage these homes that you sell and these buildings you represent. Um, just the colors, the graphics, the photographs are just such high quality and engaging material. It's not the boring. And here's the master bedroom. It's painted 1940s blue and such a beautiful rendition of the 40s. And no, it's not boring. It's current. It's got a vibe to it, an edge to it. And one of the things that I think also stands out that you're really the best at is how you show up. Okay. When Jonathan, you get out of the car, you show up with energy. You show up with enthusiasm. You show up with a positive attitude. You show up with that vision of seeing things that other people can't see. The homeowner can't see it. The buyer can't see it. And you think about all these things in the background and how to move things, shape things, color things, and engage them in ways most people aren't even thinking. But when you wrap around them, you're giving them a very different experience than your average everyday realtor. Talk a little bit about your level of excellence in how you're delivering the customer experience, because I think that's more critical today than any other time, because people have choices. They have Amazon, they have the internet, they have ways to be informed. What differentiates businesses going forward is the experience, how people feel when they interact with your business. How do you do that? What makes you different in that experience you give them?
The one thing that I remember my dad telling me the most growing up is fake it till you make it. And I have to say that that is one really good way to get started in any business when you know nothing. When I sold my first property, the person who hired me, they were actually very surprised to hear that this was the first property that I had ever sold. They didn't know
Surprise!
it was him. They didn't ask. They were a client. We did do property management for them, which is, the reason I got my real estate license. But they didn't know that that was my first transaction. And I handled myself and conducted it in such a way that I didn't lead anybody to believe that. I certainly don't lie. I don't say things that aren't true or that I don't know the answer to. I'll tell them I'll get back to you with an answer, but you do it with confidence. Confidence is the number one thing that you can do. When you start questioning yourself, when you maybe are unsure about something, then that's what's going to give people pause. So, number one, lead with confidence, and that is that fake it till you make it identity. Number two is just be passionate about what you do. If you're not passionate about it, it's going to show. And passion, you can't create, it just comes from somewhere naturally inside. When you're good at something, you become passionate about it. And then it's easy to share that with everybody. Those are really the number one and two things. It's, my extensive background in sales coming from corporate America that's helped me understand what people are looking for. I take every one of my buyers and my sellers just like they were one of my corporate America clients. What would they expect? They want hand holding. They want knowledge. They want somebody who's able to come in and execute, that they can sleep well at night knowing that they are in good, trusted hands. And so those are some of the things that I'm working on right now as part of that continuous improvement that we talked about. Jason, you're my business coach, and we're working on that cradle to grave type of sales process. What does that look like? There are so many real estate agents who can do what I do. I set myself apart through the marketing, through the visibility, through the energy, through the creativity, through the positive attitude. And that's what attracts people. Knowing that there are a lot of other people who can do what I do it makes me realize I need to focus on things that are really going to set me apart. And those things are, when somebody has an experience with me, I want to do as much for them as I can possibly do. So they walk away thinking, there is no way I could have done this transaction without Jonathan. And then number two, I want them to have such a positive experience that they will say, I can't ever imagine using anyone else because I can't imagine they would meet that same level. And I would
Hmm.
probably be disappointed. So I'm going to tell all of my family and friends about Jonathan. Once you understand what needs to be done, then you can start to automate things. Then you can set expectations in the beginning so people know what to expect. It doesn't have to be an arduous process every time you go through this to go above and beyond. It can be seamless. You can do it in your sleep. You just have to think that way and put policies and practices into your business that help you accomplish that.
Excellent advice, man. Man, you hit some really good things. So, folks out there listening, I hope you're taking notes because Jonathan's given you some really, tried and true entrepreneurial, examples of how to do it and how to do it well. You know, One of the things that I see in you that's different than most is you care almost to a fault. Like you really truly care about people, you care about their experience, you care about um, them getting what they want and how they want that. Because at the end of the day, real estate is a transaction. Somebody's selling something, somebody's buying something, and people make money in the process, right? I mean, that's great. However, that's really not what it's about,
Mm-mm.
because they're buying a home. That's where they live. That's where they raise a family. That's their sanctuary. That's where they think. That's where they figure out problems. That's where they go and hide when they've had a bad day. That's where they come up with new ideas. It's where memories are made. It's where lives are shaped. And in a home, yes, a structure, but it's really about a dream. At the end of the day, there's only a couple things in life we really truly dream about, and that's a home and having a certain home and a lifestyle. It's, people dream about traveling and meeting certain people. People dream about a certain business or career and things like that. And so out of our really big dreams, our homes, where we live, where we, grow our families, you are able to make more of an impact on somebody for the rest of their life by helping them realize a dream. That's important because that's why you care. And Jonathan has, gone out and written books about this and gives his books away. Jonathan has a podcast where he talks about these types of things on his podcast to help people be informed, because life is really about decision making, personally and professionally. And Jonathan, you're helping people be informed and learn about these different ways to do things to help them realize a dream or some level of success that's important to them. If you take away anything from this, it's that you don't have to be a millionaire to start a business. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room to be successful. You just need to figure out what you're the best at and do those things and do them well. One of the things that really stands out, and one of the reasons I think Jonathan is successful, is the level of excellence, the standard he sets for himself to go out and perform and do what he does, and raising the bar for the people around him is amazing. He's very inspiring and motivating, and that's just what he brings to the table. If you bring that to the table in your journey and your business and your ventures and your side hustles, you will also breed success, because those are where doors are opened and created. The other thing that I think is interesting about Jonathan is he's so eager to learn.
Hmm.
And he likes to be challenged. Why do I know that? Because Jonathan mentioned it earlier. I'm his business coach, and I challenge him all the time. Every single week we meet and we talk about the good things that are going on. We talk about some setbacks if they pop up from time to time. We talk about new opportunities that opened up, and we've been talking about a lot of new and exciting things that he's going to roll out this year, that I think are just going to kind of help him in his business ventures, go to the next level of success. And so, Jonathan, I appreciate you as, a client and as a friend. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you and be a part of your journey and a part of your story. And I appreciate the opportunity to allow me to give you some of the things that I'm the best at, so that it can help you realize some things yourself. And at the end of the day, that's what life's about. It's about everybody helping each other with the strengths and the capabilities that we can bring to the table. As much as I may like to think I've helped Jonathan through his process, Jonathan has motivated, inspired me in a reciprocal way. I've learned a lot from him in this process. He's in that marketing, branding, positioning side of things. He's really good, and I've learned many things from that. And so I thank you for that, Jonathan. Any last words for our audience on being a business owner and being an entrepreneur and being able to just get out there and take some risk? What encouraging closing words would you have for somebody that's considering something as venturous as owning your own business?
Yes. First of all, thank you for all of the compliments. This I don't think I've ever been as complimented in such a short period of time, and all of that back at you, because everybody needs professionals around them, and that's probably the best advice that I can give any single business owner, is that you have to wear so many hats. Um, do not do not neglect bringing in the experts. I tried doing my own bookkeeping in the beginning because I thought I couldn't afford somebody to help me with that. You can't afford not to. My life is so much easier now. I'm freed up to do what I need to do. Hiring a business coach, I thought I had it all figured out. When you have growing businesses, you're like, I've hit the jackpot. Why do I need help? I don't need any more business. No, you need help making decisions on what to do, what to focus on, how to use your time right, what clients to let go, maybe shave off some of this, maybe consider hiring over here. There's so much strategy. And when you're in the trenches every day doing all of that work, you know what you know, but you don't always know what you don't know. And so the minute you find a deficiency, have a good business attorney to read over your contracts, to give you advice, because you can make one bad moves and one wrong email and land up in a lawsuit. Have a business coach whenever you can afford to do so, and when you're at that point in your business where you need it, because it's invaluable. Have the accountants, both a bookkeeper and an accountant. They can be separate. Just have as many professional people around you to take off some of that work, to free you up to run your business. It's not only going to give you a better mindset to run your business, but also it's going to make sure that you don't have to hire more staff until you need it. Because when you bring on more staff in a small business like environment like this, you can soon become a manager of people before you are, running that business. It's going to take you away from being able to do that. So I resisted for a long time bringing those people in. And if I had to do it all over again, the number one thing I would have done is bring in professional services earlier to help me streamline my business. But also, never stop learning. This is what I'm doing right now. YouTube is next for us. Believe it or not, that's one area we haven't really tapped into. So I don't know what I don't know. I'm going to learn it first. And you are a badass at making money. Manifest that stuff. Sit down, read it, internalize it, tell yourself you're the best. If you don't believe in energy, you don't believe in the power of negative thinking, remember that you are in your head more than anybody else every day. 75% of your day is probably sitting here thinking, talking to yourself, strategizing. Be nice to yourself. Tell yourself good things. Pretend you're Jason talking to me today and be that nice to yourself because you need to hear it and you deserve it. And there's enough negativity out there that you don't need to pile on.
Amen, Jonathan. Well said.
Be your
Well,
own
buddy,
cheerleader.
thank you
I
so
certainly
much. And there's so much truth to that. I mean, everything you're saying is just spot on. And Jonathan, thank you so much for being on my show today and being a part of the Soar Hire, enterprise here. Um, I don't know. I knew you were the perfect guy to be on the show to talk about this, and you just demonstrated why, man. You just have such a good heart and a good soul about you, and thank you so much for being on the show. I think people are going to get a lot out of this.
I hope so.
Jonathan, talk to the audience a little bit about how they can learn more, from you, access your books if they're interested in real estate or anything real estate related, entrepreneur kind of stuff.
Mhm.
How do they get a hold of you? How do they connect with somebody like you?
Absolutely. So our books on buying and selling real estate, you can download a free ebook version of those by going to our website, which is gokeysource.com, GOKEYSOURCE.com. You can follow me on Instagram at Top Louisville Agent with a dot between each one of those words, top.louisville.agent. Soon to be on YouTube. I'll let you know what that name winds up being once we get there. But just Google Jonathan Klunk and you will probably find everything that you've ever wanted to know about me. And I'd love to connect, interact. Send me a message on Instagram if you have questions about real estate, if you're just getting started, questions about marketing. I do as much as I can to respond to as many people as possible. So don't hesitate to reach out and just give me a little time to respond. But always happy to help.
Well, thank you so much. You're very generous and kind. I'm sure you're going to have quite a few people reaching out to you. You're a phenomenal person, and I'm just glad we're able to have you on the show and be able to share your story, and in the effort of helping other people achieve their dreams in other ways, in addition to getting a home through somebody like you. So, Jonathan, thank you so much. Appreciate you tuning in today. Look forward to talking to you next week. Hope you have a great week.